What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. I want to start off by talking about a new possible partnership and what that might mean for us as investors. Outside of that, the SEC Rule 201 was just triggered. So I'm going to be talking about what that means and what that actually is in the bigger picture. So I'm going to go over both points. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated. With that, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to the SEC Rule 201, it was largely enacted because of short interest and a big fluctuation in that. So what happened yesterday? I'm just going to give you a good breakdown of that. I'm sure a lot of us already know we were down 10+%, give or take. Short score as of right now is 69. Utilization is 96.45. As far as short interest, obviously as of right now, the market has not been open, so it reset, so 0 shares have been shorted and so forth. But yesterday, there was 3.8 million shares being additionally shorted. And that is pretty significant for SoFi. And SoFi's overall short interest, roughly about 3 months ago, was around 25%. Extremely high for what it can offer. And as we know, based on the Q3 earnings, clearly they had a triple beat, amazing earnings. And as of right now, 13.09 is the official short interest. So a big fluctuation in shorts getting into SoFi that prompted the SEC's Rule 201 to be enacted and triggered. So I'm going to pop over to Interactive Brokers and break that down for you. So these are all some of the tickers that I've been watching lately, one of which is SoFi. So you do see a little tab next to SoFi, and I'm just going to highlight over that. So as you can see right here, the SEC Rule 201, aka the Uptick Rule, has been triggered, and the related exchanges have implemented a short sale restriction in accordance with their policies. Short selling is still permitted with the SEC Rule 201 criteria is met. That's if they're being met. Short sale restriction is in effect from November the 2nd at 11:21 to November the 3rd at 7 o'clock p.m. So it's 1900 hours. So what does that ultimately mean in the bigger picture? So I'm just going to quickly go over this and what that again means for us as investors. So as you can see, what is the Uptick Rule? Uptick Rule is hypothetically when a stock does go down roughly about 10%, similar to what happened yesterday with SoFi. It helps protect the stock, plain and simple. Because if there is a very much down day, it does restrict short sellers from increasing their position. So that could be a very positive sign, give a little bit more of a safety net, if you want to call it that. So that might be a very positive thing, especially more so looking on the technicals. We were breaking down very much, and even so far pre-market, we're down about 1%, give or take. So a lot of things behind the scenes is, for the most part, keeping SoFi fairly safe above that $5 level. Of course, there is going to be a lot of big fluctuations in SoFi, especially with what Powell said yesterday. Even though they did maintain that 75 basis point, which was the forecast, he gave a lot of very aggressive tones, and for the most part, once again, reiterated saying that he doesn't necessarily care if there's going to be a recession. Obviously, that's my own rewording and how I interpret things. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So let me know your thoughts on the Uptick Rule and if you think it is beneficial for SoFi. Keep in mind, this is only up until 1900 hours today, so on November the 3rd. So definitely a very short-term safety net that SoFi does have. Outside of that, though, I was looking on Twitter. I did see a little bit more something coming out from Anthony Noto, and it was a very interesting concept that would be a very win-win with potentially Twitter. And when it comes to Twitter, we all know about those damn blue little dots right here. The ticks are being talked about quite heavily from Elon, and whether he's pushing it out, they did set a price point of $8. And so Anthony did come out saying something very optimistic that should potentially help SoFi in the longer term. So Anthony does say if they switch their direct deposit to SoFi and paid $8 a month to Twitter Blue via the SoFi account, we would refund the $8 to their account for 12 months. That way we can obviously integrate that. So again, in the bigger picture, SoFi would get a huge amount of customers, and also Twitter would get their Blue verification. So Elon would be happy, Anthony would be happy. It would be a win-win in theory. So that is actually a pretty interesting concept that Anthony came out with. And I think this is actually a very big thing, because this might result in more customers than almost any of the previous campaigns. And this was virtually free, if you want to call it that. Anthony just came out with a tweet. Of course, SoFi would have to eat the $8 fee, but the bigger picture on what SoFi would be able to get as a benefit, potential new actual products and so forth, I think this is a very good idea. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. So possibly a SoFi Elon or Anthony Elon, whatever you want to call it, partnership. So very beneficial if you ask me. So let me know your thoughts on, like I said, the SEC Rule 201 and this new partnership. Both very beneficial and adding a nice little base to SoFi. So like I said yesterday in the video, hypothetically SoFi has a lot of good actual results, like we saw based on the Q3 earnings. But it does feel as though the fundamental base around SoFi is just completely on fire. So SoFi has been very difficult as far as an investment. Theoretically, it's very good. It has a very good business. It is growing massively. It seems to not be able to catch a break, plain and simple. And based on the price and what is happening so far pre-market, it doesn't look too optimistic that we could potentially stay above the $5 mark. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciated. If you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.